Do you want a full reference number?
You are now watching the production processes and procedures inside the American Western Star Truck factory. In 2002, production moved from Western Canada to a newly upgraded Portland, Oregon plant. The facility received a $16 million investment in assembly lines, paint booths, and quality systems, including an E-coat corrosion prime system and cleanroom top coat booths. To maintain Western Star's reputation for rugged quality, the plant traces its roots back to 1969, with approximately 1,100 employees operating 2 full shifts to produce vocational and highway trucks like the 4,900 or 6,900 series. In March 2020, the same plant rolled out Western Star's 200,000th truck, an event marking a significant milestone celebrated by executives, employees, and customers alike. Western Star's ethos of hand-built custom trucks stems from its early days in British Columbia. That DNA continued through the transition to Portland, ensuring every build meets stringent performance and quality benchmarks. Assembly lines were specifically widened and reinforced to handle 500-inch chassis for heavy-duty applications, and the production system was tailor-made to fit West Star's product specs, not the other way around. Western Star has long focused on driver comfort and practical design. That legacy carries into modern models like the X Series, which debuted around 2020, delivering sloped hoods, larger windshields, advanced LED lighting, and premium interiors tailored to vocational and on-highway use. Production extended beyond Portland. In 2015, the Cleveland, North Carolina plant began building Class 8 models like the 4700. Post-move, the Portland plant ramped up to an output of about 33 trucks per day, with specific emphasis on craftsmanship and reliability, especially since Western Star models use steel-welded chassis, as opposed to aluminum rivets common in sibling Freightliner models. Western Star trucks are respected in the U.S., especially in vocational and heavy-duty markets, but they are not as popular in terms of overall sales volume compared to major brands like Freightliner, Peterbilt, Kenworth, Volvo, or International. Western Star specializes in severe-duty and vocational trucks, used in logging, mining, oil fields, construction, and other extreme environments. Their trucks are engineered to handle rough terrain, heavy loads, and harsh conditions better than most mass-market brands. Western Star trucks are often hand-built to order, with thousands of options for chassis, axles, interiors, lighting, and accessories. This makes them popular among owner-operators who want a truck tailored to their needs, not just a standard fleet spec. Even the layout of switches and gauges in the cab can be customized. Western Star is part of Daimler Truck North America, alongside Freightliner, so it benefits from access to proven Detroit powertrains, engines, transmissions, axles. When it comes to heavy-duty trucks, downtime is costly, and reliability is everything. That's why Western Star trucks are engineered not just for performance, but for ease of maintenance and longevity. These trucks are built with the needs of real-world operators in mind, especially those who take pride in maintaining their own equipment. Western Star Trucks has experienced strong sales growth in recent years within the U.S. market, especially in the vocational segment. In 2023, it sold 8,326 Class 8 trucks, and in 2024, that number surged to 11,612, an impressive number 39.5% increase, driven by demand in construction and heavy-duty applications. Monthly sales also showed steady momentum, with January 2024 up nearly 59% year over year, and August hitting a record 1,031 units. While parent company Daimler Truck North America saw overall sales decline by 16% in early 2025. Western Star's niche in rugged, customizable vocational trucks has helped it maintain market share growth, rising from around 2.8% to over 4.5% in U.S. Class 8 truck sales. Unlike many high-volume manufacturers, Western Star trucks are often hand-built to customer specifications. So each truck is custom configured from the frame up, including axles, chassis components, cab layout, and electronics. While many competitors use aluminum for cab structure, Western Star sticks with galvanized steel cabs, assembled using laser and robotic welding. Western Star trucks use modular electrical architecture, which simplifies diagnostics and repair. Western Star trucks, known for its rugged and highly customizable vocational and highway trucks, operate several manufacturing facilities in the United States. The primary plant is located in Portland, Oregon, with additional operations in Cleveland, North Carolina, and North Charleston, South Carolina. South. Western Star's manufacturing process emphasizes craftsmanship, customization, and toughness. It's not about mass production, it's about building the right truck for the right job, with hands-on care and rugged engineering. But now, let's move from the Western Star Trucks factory to the Navistar International factory in the USA.
There is no mandatory dress code at the American Volvo factory, and they use these special drill bits to attach all the bolts at the same time. And cranes are used to move the entire chassis nice and easy. The worker can walk freely next to the chassis. After that, the giant engine is lowered by crane onto the chassis and fixed to the truck frame. The procedure is then that the engine is attached to the chassis with wheels and then the finished truck cab is lowered again by crane onto the engine. Immediately after mounting the Volvo truck engine, the front grille is attached. Finally, we take a look at the main assembly line of the new Volvo VNL long-haul truck. Staff prepare the cab for the main assembly line by removing the dashboard plate and the front lid. The cab is then fed into the main assembly line, where it will move at a speed of 1 meter per minute. The cab will pass through 60 different workstations, where personnel have an average of 6 minutes to complete their tasks before it moves to the next station. Each has been carefully designed and structured to ensure maximum efficiency and speed, with all the necessary tools and parts located as close and conveniently as possible. Safety and ergonomics are also paramount, with staff provided with plenty of lifting aids and support. All stations are built so that anybody can work on them. The assembly line is formed according to a fishbone structure. One main line through the middle, with smaller pre-assembly lines for larger modules along the sides. When it comes to the dashboard, there are even pre-assembly lines for the pre-assembly. Individual components are put together to make small modules, which are then assembled into a complete dashboard that is then slotted straight into a cab on the main line. An average cab will consist of between 800 and 950 parts. However, there are around 4,000 different part numbers, and with so many different specifications, virtually every cab process is exceptionally complex, designed to limit the risk of human error. For example, to ensure parts pickers collect the right parts for each cab, a system of lights indicate which parts are needed for the next cab. Once everything has been collected and moved to the main line, the parts picker simply presses a button for the next sequence of lights. So this is how you install a bed in the cab of a truck. As you can see, it's not a big deal. Here, the truck cab is lowered by crane onto the finished chassis with the engine. This part is called the marriage. It is a very important element of the truck production process. Everything has to work smoothly. The technical solutions, production planning, delivery of material, and operator's way of working. It all has to be perfect. Optimized aerodynamics and new technologies have improved fuel efficiency by up to 10%. A variety of new active safety systems are offered with the new truck, including Volvo Active Driver Assist Plus with Pilot Assist, which provides active lane centering. This system is powered by Volvo Dynamic Steering, which improves maneuvering at all speeds, including more controlled backing, and increases stability at all road speeds. The design of the all-new model, with upgrades such as digital mirrors and a full digital dash display. Diesel powertrain options of the new truck will include the 10.8-liter Volvo, 12.8-liter Volvo D13, and 14.9-liter Cummins X115, limited only to the VNL. It will continue to be manufactured in the new River Valley plant. Please let me know what you think of this new Volvo truck, and if you like it better than the older version.